Ramy Romany directed the Amazon fashion competition series Making the Cut, but he also happens to be a documentarian and an Egyptian history scholar, which is probably the most interesting and diverse resume I could possibly imagine. How much, if any, familiarity with the world of fashion did you have before this opportunity came about? Was this sort of a crash course in fashion?
It had to be. I have a massive problem with fashion personally. I wear the same clothes every day, the same hat, same blue shirt. If you look at any picture of me or any set any day, I wear the same clothes. It's so much easier. I look good in it. It works in every occasion, so I'm always wearing the same thing. And the fashion peeps did not like that. And one of their missions on the show was to get me to change my attire, and they failed that one.
So how does the process of filming and shooting clothes from a fashion perspective differ from some of the other nonfiction work you've done in the past? I imagine just sort of the glamour of it must be a different approach.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a documentarian. I was born into a documentary making family, and documentary is in my veins. And when I was approached for making the cut, I wanted to give it that different feel, different look. Something doesn't look like every other competition show out there, because there are stories. There are stories for every single one of these designers, and there are stories of Heidi and Tim, who are an amazing couple. Like the on-screen couple, they're great. So I wanted to film differently. I wanted to be very cinematic, and I wanted to follow the action. And I ran into problems because fashion is different than a documentary exploring the Great Pyramids of Giza. But I took the same approach, and I think it worked out really well. My idea was to try to make the whole show feel like a documentary. Like one camera is shooting the whole show, a single camera moving around, feeling the action, instead of the typical multi-cam clean shots, and you can cut it any you want. So for me to make that happen on a show like this, I need to have steam cameras to make that feel work. It worked pretty well.
And what's it like, coordinating that much, that much material? When the season started, there are 12 designers plus you're shooting Heidi and Tim, but you still, kind of achieve that fly on the wall feeling when the designers are all interacting with each other, working on their own stuff. Like, how difficult is that to juggle?
I can put myself horns and say it was extremely difficult, and I made it happen. But the team really make it work. I've worked with the same team for a while, and we've done multiple shows, and our approach is always like that. There's a dance that happens on set, and it's very awkward for all the designers, for anyone on camera on the first day, because there's so many cameras around each other, and cameras back to back. They use C lenses, they use cameras with cine lenses, shoot a reality competition show, which is extremely hard to achieve. So there has to be a dance between all the operators and the audio on the floor at any given time. You have at least 40 people holding cameras and mics and assistants, with all these designers doing the work. So it's hard for everyone to get accustomed to it. But the first day passes, all the operators, all these audio guys, all these camera assistants disappear because they do their job and they don't exist. The designers don't see them anymore, even though they're right around them. But you do have to coordinate, because the way I shoot makes it that there's no fourth wall, no surrounding it, 360 degrees at all times. Yet I have 30 people who need to be on the floor at all times, with boom mics hanging, camera behind each other. So it is very, very difficult to coordinate, and restrictions that we have because of the cine lens. So a standard competition show will be shot with E&G cameras, which gives you a lens capability that can go super wide and zoom in all the way to get the same shot wide and zoom in all the way. The cinema lenses are much more restrictive. They have much smaller range to achieve the look. So I have to have 2 or 3 cameras doing one camera's job on a standard competition reality show. So the camera operators are next to each other, behind each other, and I'm trying to get every shot I need to always make it feel like a single camera show with 16 cameras in the field.
And one of the, it seems like one of the most complicated aspects of the show is shooting the fashion shows themselves, which are never just in one location. It's a different location. It's this luxurious production number every single time. What's it like setting each of those up, since they're all in a different place, and I imagine require, you know, different lighting, different kinds of approach to the filming?
I would have had all the time in the world to light and film every one of these runway and set them up, but obviously that's not the case. The story matters so much, and with the story comes the problem of time. These designers have to design within one day, and the runway is the next day. And the runway is the next day. Sometimes the runway is on the same day. So we have to set these up so quickly to keep that intensity, keep the emotions of the designers aware that they're doing the thing, and we're just there to film. They would be doing that even if they're not. So setting up a runway in front of the Eiffel Tower in a matter of a couple of days takes so much prep in advance, but when it gets there, I'm also known to have a problem that I do change my mind a lot. Once we get there, they build this massive runway in a day or less. I have to get there at midnight after we finish shooting everything else. I look at it so quickly with one camera in my hand, and sometimes as I change my mind, I talk to the production designer, who's one of the best production designers out there. He has to go wake French people up from their sleep so he can buy some different material to put on the runway, which we have accomplished. And then day comes. We were shooting this in summer in France, and that meant that the sun sets at around 10 p.m. We would shoot a runway at night. The sun sets at 12 p.m. We have 2 hours to film the whole runway without looking at it at that light. To set up the whole runway with our mad calculations and believe that it will work. The Eiffel Tower had lights on too, and everything has to match, and we haven't seen these lights at night. We set it all up, we put all the lights up, and honestly, we were all scared. That specifically, we were all scared because we don't know how it's going to look. We just are thinking, visualizing how it looks, but we don't really know. We had to set everything perfectly, thinking it's going to look exactly that way. Then the sunset, it gets dark so quickly, and we run that runway. We have 2 hours to film the whole thing, and it was glorious. The Video Village, control room, were all things, the executive producers and myself and network was all in tears once that show started, because it felt like all our work came together, and it looked perfect. Every time I watched that runway, I am so proud. It looks amazing.
And you know, shooting in Paris and shooting in Tokyo and shooting in New York, you know, it feels like there must be different logistical kind of challenges in each place. Do you have the same? You mentioned you've been working with the same crew for a while. Is you know, do you have that benefit of continuity to kind of keep things working?
Yes, well, not just logistical problems. There's also cultural aspects. The difference between the French and the Japanese, that all my crew had to learn as well to not offend anyone. The French are very open. They hug everyone and they kiss everyone twice on 2 cheeks. And the Japanese are very conservative, and they barely shake hands. You bow when you meet people, and it's a very different culture, and you can easily offend one or the other if you didn't do the right thing. So not just logistically, you have to teach crew how to culturally act, so they don't offend anyone in a very little amount of time. And then logistically, every country has different ways of approaching filming. Japan is very strict, which means for them to give us 100% go, it took multiple stages of it's a maybe. I remember the words. It's a very strong maybe. We would get these from locations. Okay, this is maybe a very strong maybe. This is really, really likely. And of course, in our world, it had to be yes or no, so we can build everything else up. But Japan doesn't give you the yes unless they are 100% certain that all the stars were aligned perfectly well before they can tell you yes. So that was completely different. And in France, it is nearly the opposite. In France, they are very welcoming and very happy, and everyone says yes, yes, even if it's not a complete yes, but they want you there and they want to welcome you. So it's culturally very different, and we had to face multiple different logistical issues. Now, in Japan, when we went there, it was monsoon season. It was the rainy season. We were unlucky to have that because a lot of our runways had to be outdoors and to see the country. The whole idea when we go to a different country is we want to be outdoors. We want to be outside so we can feel the country, or else we could have done this inside a studio all in Los Angeles. So when we go there and it's raining every day, it was very hard for us. And then we found a window, a 2-hour window that we could film. I'm trying to think. It was about episode 7, which was in the open air Edo Museum outside. We had a 2-hour window to film it all, and we had a backup just in case it rains. Umbrellas, no tents. I hate. So in filming, when we film massive things outside, worried about rain, normally we bring massive tents just in case it rains, so nothing gets rained on. But that spoils the whole fun of being outside for me. So I hate those tents, and I canceled them from the whole show. I said, if the worst case scenario, let's give everyone umbrellas and have the models go out in the rain with no umbrellas and get wet. It's a part of it. And the 2 hours that we thought we had the window for ended up being 15 minutes, and then it started raining like crazy on us with a whole runway set up, big camera cranes, all the crew, all the cameras, all the city lenses hanging there in the rain. And then it started raining. The umbrellas came out. Everyone had umbrellas, and it couldn't have been better. We got so lucky. The rain just gave us that effect that looked so perfect. It looked like we intended it to be that way all the way through. That today, when someone watches that exact runway, the first question they ask me is, "Oh, you had rain machines?" Because it looks so intentional when it was just complete luck.
That seems like something that must be a benefit of coming from a documentary background. Is this sort of happy accidents thing, or things that you can't plan on or anticipate, but things just sort of happen, and you have to kind of roll with the punches. Did that sort of having that background make it easier to kind of, no pun intended, weather those storms?
I have to completely agree. In the documentary world, it is crucial. The things that you don't plan for in the documentary world is what makes the documentary or breaks it. Some of the best documentaries out there are the best documentaries because someone left a mic on when they went to the bathroom. A happy accident. And I have to use every one of these moments to my benefit. And when it came to our fashion competition show, it was the rain in the middle of Tokyo on top of our runway.
And in addition to those grand, runway fashion shows, you also get these intimate moments with Tim and Heidi, whether they're fencing or they're just getting a caricature done. Like, what was it like working with them? Just sort of on those. Getting the idea of, you get a feel for them and a feel for the places where you're all visiting.
Tim and Heidi are very much the Tim and Heidi you see on screen. Every day, all day, they are the same type of people. And they're very different from each other. Tim is the sweetest human being, the nicest guy ever. He remembers every crew member's name. I remember the first day he walked on set, Phil, he walked on and he looks at the end of the room, far. One camera is shooting him, and he sees that camera lady behind the camera. Her name is Gretchen, and she filmed with him 3 seasons ago on a different show. And he goes, oh, hi, Gretchen. He remembers everyone, and he's so sweet. Everyone loves him on set. Tim is also very meticulous, very particular, and you've seen that probably on episode 7 or 8 when he was packing up his Tokyo trip to go back. In that episode, you can see that he is very perfect with his packing. He packs everything. He's always ready 4 or 5 hours before his time, which is the complete opposite from Heidi. He didn't set that up. He didn't write that. That was exactly how it always happened. But that means that him on set, he wants his mark. And he wants his mark. Where does he stand? Where is his life? Where is everything perfect for him to stand and how it would work for me? He wants to make my life easy. And my style, obviously, more documentary, I like people to be more free so I can capture the way they are and fix everything else as we go. But Tim likes that perfect spot. And you can notice sometimes that Tim goes in that spot and he stays always in it and doesn't move an inch. Everyone moves around and he wants to be perfect at all times. Now, Heidi, on the other hand, she is, the word mess is so bad because that she's not a mess. She's awesome, but she's also so free. Free is the word. She's so free and she doesn't care about anything in the world other than just having fun in front of the camera. So she comes in and she's not on her mark ever, and it always works. She's always twirling around Tim right and left. She's so free, and I love that because that allows me to capture the feeling, capture the moment, not the image. And that's what I love. I love to capture the feeling, translated into the image, and not the perfect image because that has no feeling.
And another aspect I noticed is the use of music. Whether scoring the scenes of Heidi and Tim, or especially those runway shows. What was it like capturing? How did you work with the music to capture sort of the feel and the energy of those experiences?
Well, the music was extremely important for us, of course, and we wanted to use music that is well known to translate feeling and to translate emotion. And Heidi, in a way, comes with her own music. She has that feel to her where she's so lively and she's so happy. So the music that we chose for her is always that comic yet happy music, and you always feel it because Heidi is funny, and she's not just funny on camera, she's funny on set, and both of them together, the yin and the yang, are even funnier. Heidi makes all these, Heidi's obviously a foreign, she's a German-born person, so when her English is not perfect, but she's completely fine with it, and she enjoys so much when she doesn't understand a word, whether on camera or off camera, and we use that so much. We use the music behind it because it's always funny. And a lot of people connected with it because the designers on set are from all different parts of the world, and each now and then they'll be like, yeah, we don't understand that world too. We don't understand that word too. But the music that we would use for every part of the comic relief, for the runways, if you look at every runway, you will see that every design that comes out has a feel to it. And the music that comes with the design pushes that feel even more. There's some designs that come out with a model walking, and it does feel like hip hop, and hip hop music comes on. There's a different design that feels so classy and classical, and string come on, and it just feels so right. And some other poppy. So every design, in a way, comes with its own music, and we had to find the perfect beat for it. And I think the music makes or breaks runways like that.
And having had this experience of shooting the show, have you expanded your kind of wardrobe and your fashion repertoire, or is that something that you're still very much the same shirt, same hat, everything?
We might have another interview in 4 years from now. I have the same blue shirt. I washed it, and I have 36 of them, so it doesn't stink, and you can't tell that from the camera, I promise. But in 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 10 years ago, I still have the same clothes. I'm comfortable in these.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on the show. Fingers. I don't know if a season 2 is happening or when it would happen, given what's happening in the world. But fingers crossed for all that.
Well, I can tell you anything about that. I can't tell you if I know or I don't know, because if I tell you, someone has to kill me. So I will not share any information yet. We're all hopeful. Thank you so much, Daniel. This was so much fun.
Oh yeah, same here. This was fantastic. Have a good day.
Take care.